Welcome to Triple F, bringing life to your faith, family, and finance.
Aloha and welcome everybody to Triple F. I'm definitely excited for our guest speaker today for this show. This is definitely going to change a lot of people's lives. But let me just start off. My name is Danny Katoa, and we want to welcome you to Triple F, where we provide practical values and tips on how to increase your faith, create intimacy within your family, and increase your finances. We live in a world today where there's a lot of suffering, pain because of the COVID-19 and pandemic. And now it's time that having faith, intimacy within your family, increase our finances more important than ever before. So if you want to improve in those areas, chime in the Triple F. Would definitely help support you in that process. Guys, we're going to have a show, amazing show today with this gentleman that I have here as a guest speaker. But before we jump into it, we do have some prizes we're going to give away. So I'm going to direct it back to Virgil to go over those giveaways real quick before we jump into the meat and the potato of our show. Virgil, take it away.
Okay. Let's see. All right, let me So welcome to Triple F, everybody. My name is Virgil, and I just want to give you folks a rundown on our little community that me, Danny, and Jerry, and the entire gang is trying to build here in Triple F. Let me share my screen first, okay? Let me go to, okay, so first of all, to get to Triple F, am I sharing my screen? No?
No, it's not coming up, sir.
Oh, okay. So sorry about that. Let me go share my screen.
Good.
How's this?
Got it.
Okay. You see my Facebook page here, right? So to get to Triple F, type Triple F, and then you can either join our group and like and subscribe. This is our group page here. Oh no, I'm sorry. This is our public group, and we also have our Facebook group as well. So join in, join the party, and we'll have lots of fun as we talk about faith, family, and finance. Okay. Last but not least, you'd want to come to Danny's website, which is at dannykatoa.com. Subscribe to his newsletter, because Danny loves to give. So, once in a while, he'll just give like a free lunch or some gift certificate, out of the goodness of his heart. So, make sure you subscribe and be part of his tribe, okay? So I think that's about it, right? DannyKatoa.com.
And we'll do the drawing at the end. Thank you, Virgil. Appreciate that, sir.
Okay, all yours.
All right. Hey, guys, we also got great content to support you. So if you ever miss a show, you can always go back to the website and our YouTube channel. We have collected all the content there to help support you within your growth, whether it's faith, whether it's family, or finance. But with that being said, I have the honor and privilege of hosting this gentleman. I'm excited. At the same time, I'm nervous. This is a gentleman who is so special and dear to my heart. Has literally alter the Katoa legacy for generations. And like I said, I'm excited and emotional at the same time. So I'm trying to keep myself together. But this gentleman, I can literally say, helped me change my life. And so I wouldn't be the man that I am today without Mr. Mack. So it is an honor and a privilege, sir, to have you on the show. And this is kind of like a dream come true for me, to be able to interview you in this platform, in this space, because I know my life is not the only life you've been able to impact. You've been able to impact thousands of people all across the country. So why don't you introduce yourself to our Triple F tribe here, sir, and give a little bit of your background, your family, and before we dive into the conversation.
Yes, indeed. Well, I equally am excited about tonight. Guys, I got to tell you, I found myself for years now traveling across the country talking about Mr. Katoa. Rarely talking about myself because, I learned that there are three stories that we should desire to tell, and that's to tell the stories of those who've come before us, right? Those are people who've in fact served us. And if we tell those stories long enough and well enough, then we will create our own stories. But the ultimate stories that we should desire to tell, right, are the stories of those who we have served. And so I perhaps have enjoyed that in life more than anything, is talking about others. But tonight, Mr. Katoa has asked me to share mine briefly. And so my name's Kevin Mack, and I come from a background in corporate America and small business ownership. I was a retail store manager for CVS Pharmacy from the age of 22 to 26. About the age of 25, I was recognized for my talents, and we may talk about that a little bit later. But it moved me into a space where I decided to walk away from corporate America at age 26. And I ended up opening my own traditional business, a retail clothing store. And I ran that for about 2 years, from the age of 27 to age 29. A stranger came into my life. He shared this non-traditional business and industry with me, which led me to the partnership of Mr. Katoa. And here we are today, all because a few decisions were made by a few people who were willing to step out there on faith, if you will, and go against the grain. And so, who am I, guys? I'm just simply a person who loves to watch others have equal and yet greater success than myself. And that's the assignment that I've taken on in my life. And you have proven that, we've been doing a job well done, sir. So thank you so much for being, the first true example.
Oh man, you are too kind, sir. And there's so much wisdom just within sharing your story and how you came about to being an entrepreneur. I know your story because I've heard it so much, and I've been able to tell it to change my life. And so I think there's a lot of components that you share that are poignant that we could stay there and cover. But one thing that really stood out for me is you say you decided. A gentleman walked into your store as a traditional business owner. So you went from CVS to a traditional business store, and a person with non-traditional, which is our network marketing platform today, right? Known some as MLM, and in first time introduce you to this opportunity. Like, so what caught your attention? Could you speak on what caught your attention about the industry? What caught your attention to jump in head first? And I know that you had a tremendous success your first year. in the industry. So I know there's like about a 3-part question I just asked there. If you can help cover or touch on those things, Mr. Mack, it would be great for the tribe to be able to empower by your story.
Yes, indeed. And so, Mr. Couture has asked me here, kind of what was it that piqued my interest, guys? And I'll tell you exactly what it was. The stranger actually walked into my store and he said, "Sir, I see that you're doing pretty good for yourself, but would you be interested in both the money and the time?" You see, guys, those were two things that I did not have, right? My kids were asleep when I went to work, and most days they were asleep when I came home. Even though I owned that traditional business, I also owned an 85 Dodge Caravan that was leaking oil all over the place. And I often kept it parked around the back of my store. So I quickly understood why they called it a storefront. So you see, guys, someone simply piqued my interest. And, I don't know if you can see it, but behind me are pictures of my wife and my children. And I am so driven by them. Because I'm so driven by them. And if it was a possibility, right? If it was a possibility that I could have more time with them sooner than later, right? Because obviously, as a traditional business owner, right, I was already thinking outside of the box, right? I was already operating outside of the norm, if you will, right? I had decided, right, when I was 26 years of age, after being recognized, that right, I was climbing the ladder of success, but my ladder was against the wrong building. So I already had made a decision, right? Mr. Couture asked me to elaborate on this idea of a decision, right? I'd already made a decision to move from one stream to another stream, right? I took the same work ethic that I loaned to corporate America. I loaned it to myself as this traditional business owner. I had that mindset, but now this stranger said, "I see." I want you to really tune into what he said and what he was doing. And in essence, how simple, right, this industry really is. It's about piquing someone's interest. He said, "I see, right, that you're doing pretty good for yourself, but would you be interested in both the money and the time?" See, he already knew that with a traditional business, chances were, and especially because I was in there working my store, Mr. Couture, chances were, right, guys, I didn't have much time. And chances were, right, just being in business as a traditional business owner, finances might not quite be right yet, right, guys? Because 80% of small businesses, they fail in the first 5 years. And so again, if it was possible that I could attract money and time sooner than later, I had to take a look at it. You see, guys, I had to take a look if it was possible. And, I don't consider myself to be someone who, just make hasty decisions quick, without much thought, right? When I was in school, I got to tell you, I did well. I was a Maryland Distinguished Scholar. I had the highest middle grade point average of my graduating class. And I believe this is, relative information, right? And then very soon in life, I, expedited up the corporate ladder. And then I quickly pivoted to traditional business ownership. Okay. And so these things were happening early in my life, right? Because sometimes what happens, in this industry that we're in, when someone does step into it, a family member or a friend may think that that person is moving too fast, right? They may think they're moving too fast and they might want to rethink this. This is what others will do to you and put on you, right? And so for me, based on my life experiences up to that point in time, I just felt I made sound decisions. And that day I took advantage of the value proposition that gentleman was, what he was sharing that day, meaning the services. I got it right away. And then I told him to come back in about a week and I'd be prepared to join him. Here's why I told him to come back in a week, right, for me to join him in business. It's because he was right about my finances. Because it made sense to me the day he shared it with me. For me, it made sense. I took advantage of his services that day, but to get started in the business, which was less than $300, guess what, Mr. Qatar? Even though I own that clothing store, I didn't have an extra $300. I didn't have it, guys. And that was less than the cost of my cash register. But he came back in a week. I got started and I ended up making an extra $5,000 cash my first month, guys, with no time. It's called in the slivers of time, right, guys? It's called in the slivers of time. Because I was still working 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. See, because we're talking about the essence of what network marketing really is. It is designed for people who don't have time. And so over the last 2 decades, I've heard countless people say, man, everything sounds good. I would love to take advantage of it, but you know what? I just don't have time. Oh, I apologize. You're exactly who we're looking for because you don't have time, right? Guys, for the single parent mom with 2 children, 3 children, and she has 2 jobs, or in fact, 3 jobs, do we offer her another job or do we offer her an opportunity? An opportunity that she could actually work in the slivers of time that could soon replace, guys, one of her incomes. Then it could soon replace 2 of her incomes. And then it could soon replace 3 of her incomes while working at home. And now she has what's called time. And so that's what happened for me.
Wow.
I work in the store 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. I was building this business in the slivers of time, $5,000 my first month, and guys, nearly 6 figures the first year personally. Yes, sir, in excess of 80,000. Built a business under my mom that paid her 21,000. My sister 9,000. So the Mack family saw over $100,000 from this business model because we made a decision, right, to take action on what we thought was good for us, sir.
No, that's so good, sir. I don't know. We could call it in right now because you just dropped a lot of bombs on us. But man, that was so awesome. As you were speaking, a lot of the wisdom over the years that you have taught. One of the things that really stood out. I don't know if you remember this, but you taught me personally. This is when I was in the room for 8 months and 3 weeks. And not one person showed up. And I remember you just always constantly empowering me to keep going. And one thing you say, Danny, if you have $100 in one hand and $20 in the other hand, which one would you take? And automatically I say the $100. I said the $100, duh. Like I'm not a dummy, But your question next was so profound. You said, how come you didn't choose both?
Yeah.
How come you did? You remember that conversation?
Yes.
How come you didn't choose both? And I don't know what book or what experience you got that from, but that literally altered my life in the aspects of like how we are programmed traditionally to only settle for one.
Mhm.
And no one, and the rich and wealthy, they can have their cake and eat it too. And I think that's from the Millionaire Next Door book. Why is that that's the belief that they have, is that they believe they can have their cake and eat it too. And the hard work, the middle income people believe they only deserve a sliver of the cake, so they only settle for a sliver. And the hardworking people in the bottom bracket, they don't even settle for the cake. They go buy a donut, focus on the hole in the middle, and wonder why for many years they can't achieve anything. And I just thought that was so profound, the way you put that you can work your job and work in opportunity, so that at some point you buy back your time. So I just hope it blesses people. If you're listening to this on replay or live, I mean, just know that you can have your cake and eat it too. Mr. Mack, I don't want to ruin it for people, what this Legal Shield opportunity. I read a quote that somebody shared the other day. It's like, I think it was Mr. Humes or Mr. Edward. And they say, I'm not just about chasing money. I'm chasing the freedom that money can provide for me and my family. And, that's different. That's the whole different mindset and heart set. And I know where you are at today, for you and your family to enjoy the fruit of your labor and all the seeds you've sown over the years, because you were $200K earner, you and your wife, and then your wife has a position that she's a $50K ring earner, right? And then now with Junior doing what he's doing, and even your daughters. I mean, what you have and your wife have done to raise these young kings and queens in your household, it is so inspiring, sir. I mean, truly, I don't say that just for the sake of conversation. I see it with my own two eyes, and I'm modeling. I'm working to model the behavior and duplicate it, because you started with nothing but a desire. And you have disciplined yourself to be who you are today. Why don't you share a little bit of the fruit of what it have done for you, and then dispel any myth that people may have about our industry that has allowed us the freedom. Like I'm sitting in a hotel room in California. It's 10:20 p.m. and the only person I had to beg for me to come here was my wife to release me to come. I didn't have to put in time to a boss, or things of that nature. But that's the freedom that this opportunity is given. Could you touch on that, sir?
Yeah, that is so loaded. That is a loaded question.
No.
We could go so long on that. Guys, this is so exciting. I literally have chills. The thought of answering the questions, right, about the myths and what it's been able to do for us. So let's talk about, right, just the myths, guys, right? We were told to go to school, get good grades, and get a good job, right? What happened to go to school, right, get good grades, and prepare and learn how to recognize an opportunity? Right? Because when we go and earn scholarships, it's entrepreneurs who are providing the scholarships so that eventually you can come and work for their company. Okay. I want you to think about it, right? Entrepreneurship. So there's education that I came across here on this journey, even concerning that. And it enabled me to navigate, right, my children in a different direction because of the education acquired here. Right? Typically, you leave school more than 6%, right? Never pick up another book. We have a book of the month program One of the books, The Business School by Robert Kiyosaki, it says the number one reason to get involved with this industry, guys, it's for the education. How powerful is that? Listen, the education, just to be around this group. I've watched people increase their incomes on their jobs because of who they became here.
Come on.
Guys, this is a big deal, not a small deal, right? So there was one book I had my son read that I read, and it said, hey, go ahead and get the degree, right? So I don't have a degree, made millions of dollars with a high school diploma, okay? All right. However, I didn't discourage my children and say they didn't, need to get a degree. In fact, the fruits of the labor that Mr. Couture, as he talked about, I have two children with master's degree and one who graduated high school with a degree and already moving into further education in that space. Just a dream come true. I gotta tell you, okay. So the book that I had him read, it said, right, get the education, right? But you get it, right, so that you can do what you want to do. You can become an entrepreneur in that field. And you don't have to become an employee in that field. And then it's okay, right? Even if you do become an employee in that field. My daughter got her master's in psychology, human resource direction. She's a compensation analyst. The girl is 26 years old. She has 6 figures in the bank, guys. She has 6 figures in the bank, right? So she has a job that pays her very well, all right? She trades, and she's really good at that as an investor, and she has an Amazon business. Okay. Guys, this industry, he opened it. It's a loaded question that Mr. Couture has asked me, because education, right, and time, guys, is what this industry will do for you. You will become more educated. You just will. I am just telling you, you just will, because of the books, the tapes, the classes, right? And then the time that it will give you, right, to sow into your family, which is everything, okay? The time that it will give you to catch things that if you were working all the time, you can't, right, course correct your children fast enough. And so if you aren't there to course correct them fast enough, then they get so far down in the wrong direction that you can't course correct them fast enough.
That's so good.
Right? So one thing I know my wife was able to do, she was literally able to catch things as they were happening, right? Because I was able to retire my wife at age 30, right? Over 15 years ago, because of network marketing, right? Today, we wake up when we finish sleeping, right? Every single day, guys, right? The industry is so solid. It is so disappointing that people have associated the industry with things illegitimate, such as schemes, right? Pyramid schemes. Let's talk about it. There were things that people would do that was only money was being exchanged. They were illegal acts. And because this business model had tiers to it, right? Levels, as we call it, multi-level marketing, there are people who associated it, right, with something that was negative, something that was illegal. And a lot of people, millions, have missed out and continue to miss out on being able to create wealth, become more educated, to have more time for their family because they didn't go and do the research for themselves. Now we're going back to how I said I felt about myself, right? How I felt about myself in life from high school to corporate America, traditional business ownership, right? I'm going to go research for myself, right? And that's when I learned that pyramids is when no product or service is rendered. It's just money being exchanged, and then the tiers are being created, okay? And so that's not what this industry is. It's an amazing, and I'm about to give you this word you should really appreciate. It is an amazing career choice.
Come on.
God, it's a career choice. For me, it became a career. For Mr. Katoa, it became a career. I have partners who've been doing this career for 25, 30 years. For me, 21 years. Mr. Katoa, almost 20 years. It's a career choice. And then the evolution, because he talked about the fruits of our labor, the evolution, what has it become? We have multiple traditional businesses now. Mr. Katoa was making, he was making $22,000, right, a year when he and I met. Right, by his third year here, he was over 6 figures a year. He ended up having $22,000 months, even a few $22,000+ days, to the tune of more than $2 million, guys, nearly $3 million earned here. And then now he's evolved to traditional business ownership, his jerky company. I have some upstairs. I met up with Poncho the other day, and he gave me some of what you sent him, right? God. So he has a multi-million-dollar network marketing business. He has a multi-million-dollar traditional business. So much more investments, different investment vehicles, all because we decided for ourselves after doing true due diligence, because the deeper you dig, the more impressed you should become. The deeper you dig, the more impressed you should become about this industry. I brought the exact same work ethic here that I loaned to CVS Pharmacy, you see? So that's what most people fail to realize. If you bring the same work ethic here, the good work ethic, the great work ethic that you loan to your employer, if you bring that work ethic here, loan it to yourself, to be quite honest, the great work ethic is actually worth millions. I'm not going to downplay it. So here's the other thing, right, concerning myths, is they believe that it's only a few who make the big money, right? Only a few who get paid. In corporate America, it's only a few who make 6 figures. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, listen to yourself. Yes, in every career, we said this is a career choice, and every career is going to only be a few who maximize their full potential. But someone made it seem like it's only a few in that space, right, who maximize their full potential, who really get paid. That's the world around. Yeah, guys, so I'm just really excited about being on here tonight.
Man, I wish we had another 30 minutes to go through, because there's so much. Well, I'm gonna ask you now, and then I'll ask the last question. Is you and Mrs. Mack got to come back on for a family show, and we do a family show together where we can still cover some of the finances and continue the dialogue of how your family has lived in the fruit of your sacrifice and the discipline you guys have created over the years. But you're able, the beauty that I love and then I see, I know I don't get to talk to you every day, but your teaching lives in me every day. You know, the seed you have planted, you know, you, Self, Humes, I mean, all the leaders that we've been around, those words continue to permeate. It's made up my DNA of who I am identity-wise, right? So, Mac, as we come to a close, this last question, I want to ask you some more questions. So this is so good. I know I'm blessed doing the show and listening to you and your wisdom. But for somebody who's really struggling out there and they want something different, if they listen to this on replay or they listening to this live, if you can sum it up and close us out, what are some practical things they can do, right, to get themselves in the game or shift the trajectory of their financial portfolio moving forward? What would you be able to share that with someone who's open, looking, and listening?
Yes, indeed. That's the question of our time together today, guys, is this question here that Mr. Couture is asking. And I'll answer it this way. I just recently did a show, if you will, with my son called Common Sense Money. And one thing that he would advise at 28 for you is that you would find a mentor. Is that you would find a mentor, invest in a mentor. Opportunities such as network marketing, do you know what your investment is giving you? It's actually giving you mentors. So because of the investment that I made, I was able to learn and adopt the concept of total person achievement, becoming the total person, a person who elevates themselves in the wheel of life. The wheel of life is faith, family, finance, fitness, education, and social. It's 6 spokes in that wheel of life, guys. Right? 6 spokes in that wheel of life. So to elevate, right, and increase your financial portfolio in the 21st century, you find a mentor in that space of finance. See, each of the spokes, you find a mentor, and they will talk to you about the necessary disciplines and habits. I want you guys to do some research on the cash flow quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm answering the question, guys, the cash flow quadrant, right? Because you should ultimately strive to get to the I quadrant. You may be an employee first, and then you have a small business, then you have a big business, then you move to the I quadrant. Mr. Couture and I can help you with that. Teach you how to pay yourself first and then get right effective portfolios and interest income vehicles that will allow your money to then work for you. But the mentor shortens your learning curve, guys. All right. And you can get that through the leadership of Mr. Couture without question. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mack, guys, you can also reach out to Mr. Mack. You can find him on Facebook. You can find him on Instagram. You can definitely find him on Team New Vision websites as well. But you don't have to look very far. You can find him. And I would encourage, if you listen to this, reach out to him and say, how do you get started? Can I be can you mentor me? Can you coach me through this process as well? And one of the things that as Mr. Mack closed out and as we're closing out here, if you listen to what he shared today, everything was predicated on his decision to be willing to do the work, to help to do the work inside, right? To work this business so that it could transform his life. And because he was able to transform himself, his children, right? His children are getting a head start from where he started at. So this is not a lottery ticket that we signed up and we got paid. This is a result of an investment of sweat equity that we put in of the work to this amazing opportunity. So I think that's just one of the myths that I wanted to share here in closing out, sir. I can't wait to come back. Please talk to Mrs. Mack. And I will send more beef jerky. And once we open up, we'll get you two to come back to Hawaii. Celebrate. Yeah, as we do. But brother,
Hey, Mr. Couture, how about that? How about that fruit of my labor that prior to pandemic that I could start every year in Hawaii with you, 5,000 miles away, and that's normal for us. It's not a once in a lifetime destination trip. We made it a once a year trip. How about that?
It's unreal, man. Unreal. Unreal. So that's what happens, when you get around people that thinks way greater than you, that works way greater than you, and willing to live in that space, guys. You become guilty by association in a good way. And I'm going to pass this back to Virgil and Sherry to go over our free giveaway raffle that's going to take place. Mr. Mack, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate and we love you, brother, and talk to you soon. Virgil, take it away. You're muted, Virgil. We can't hear you.
Okay, let's spin the wheel here.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead and spin it.
Boom.
Let's see who wins.
Oh.
Who's that? Michael
Puloka.
Yay.
Oh, hi. Michael Puloka from Seattle, Washington. What did he win, Virgil? A lunch? Free lunch?
Up to you, Danny. You're the giver.
All right, we'll get him a gift certificate to Amazon.
Awesome.
Free lunch. Okay. All right, everyone. Hey, God bless everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in with our faith, family, finance, soul, and especially here with Triple F with Mr. Mack. What an amazing! Come back and listen to the replay or catch it on our YouTube channel or on the DannyCouture.com. Take care. God bless and aloha.